That's one coming up next. But what we do have now is a really fantastic session with Jay of Imagine Insights and two very interesting Gen Z consultants. So I'm going to hand it over. Thanks very much. Enjoy.
Hi guys, thank you so much for taking the time out to come and listen to us waffle for a while. Sam was trying to get rid of everybody. Thanks, bro. Really appreciate that. Telling people the wrong session. It's great, man. Just messing with you. Appreciate you. Thank you, to MediaTel for all you guys coming down. Really, really appreciate it. As Sam said, I'm here with a couple of our Gen Z community. I'll explain what we do in a second, but before I do that, I want to introduce some of our guys. So, Constance, do you want to tell everybody how long you've been in the community and what you do and all that kind of stuff?
Yes, so I've been in the community since around October, and what we do is we give different companies reviews of what they're doing right for advertising and what they could do a bit better, just to kind of help them see our viewpoint as Gen Z, because we are the growing generation. So, yeah.
I love that. And what do you do for yourself? What's your full-time gig?
So I'm currently a student in UAL. I study cosmetic science, so I'm going to be talking a bit more in the cosmetic industry with Gen Z.
Nice, I love that. And Soraya, how long have you been in the community and what do you do with your full-time life?
I've been in the community for a year now. I think I started like May of last year. And full-time, I'm a student right now. I study at King's College London. I do business management there, second year.
And he's done 13 briefs in the community. He's like, this guy's done a lot of briefs. I don't know how he does this many briefs, but he's done a lot of briefs, which is good. I can see the time up there, which is wonderful. It says 20 minutes, which is wonderful. I thought I had 15, so that's great. Thank you so much for giving us extra time. So I'm gonna kick off in a second. So give you an overview about who we are and what we do. My name is Jay Richards. I'm one of the co-founders at Imagine Insights, and we enable brands like Amazon Prime Video, PepsiCo, Puma to crowdsource qualitative or quantitative insights from our Gen Z community. So we have over 24,000 Gen Z in 111 countries worldwide, and we're able to crowdsource insight from them within 72 hours. So we're just infinitely quicker and infinitely better than everybody else, if I'm honest, which is great. I love it. But you're here today, not to hear from me, you're here to hear from our Gen Z community, because those are the ones that you care about and those are the ones you want to know things from. So this session really is about what advertising they're loving at the moment, what advertising they think could be improved, and really the brands that they're really, really engaging with. So I'm going to kick off my first question. I'm going to come first to you, Constance. What is the advert or the marketing campaign that you've seen in the last 12 months that you've really loved, and why did you love it?
So I really liked the MAC campaign. If nobody really knows what MAC is, it's a beauty company. I'm sure a lot of people do. So this MAC campaign was with Cher and Sweetie. They're both amazing women, and they're talking about Cher and literally how she's immortal. Like, she has lived for so long and she looks amazing. It's true. And basically they're saying how long this MAC lipstick lasts, and she's making a joke about how it lasts as long as her. Which was hilarious. And I just loved it because I love seeing the diversity of how there's a woman that's not just in her 20s, but there's a woman that's in her 70s that can promote beauty, showing that women can be as beautiful. It doesn't matter how long. You don't have an expiry date on when your beauty ends. And I just loved seeing Sweetie there. I loved the diversity, and I thought it was great. So, yeah.
I love that. Firstly, I didn't know Cher was 70.
Yeah.
I didn't realize, her skincare regime is phenomenal. What the hell? How is it? And I love the idea that you're saying, okay, cool. It's something that's so important to you personally. Yeah. The idea of just beauty doesn't, I love the way she said that. Beauty doesn't have an expiry date. It's such a great way of putting it. And I love the idea that you're going, actually, you know what? The way MAC enabled me to view them as a brand was, do you think your view of MAC as a brand changed after seeing that campaign? Is it gone from you liked them before and you like them even more, or how did that campaign help you to see MAC?
Yeah, definitely. I did love them before, but I love them even more now for being so accepting, kind of showing that it's not just the girls that you see with the filters online, it's just more than that. Yeah,
amazing, love that. So Soraya, what is the advert or the campaign that you've seen in the last 12 months that you love?
I think Ryanair's whole TikTok campaign recently has been blowing up, and it's one of my most favorite TikTok pages ever. I think there's three things that make it stand out. Firstly, if you compare Ryanair's advertisements and TikToks compared to any other airlines advertisements, it's very informal, very friendly, very down to earth, which is something that really appeals to me as a Gen Z member. And secondly, they don't really force their advertisement, they don't really force their offers onto you. It's more of like integrated within it being funny and it being very casual. So it doesn't feel like I'm watching an advert. It's more of I'm just going through TikTok and I come across Ryanair. They do make it a point to promote their different prices, different routes, and all of those things, but they do it when they're being funny and when they're being interactive. They use brand characters, they use filters on like their planes to make it seem like they have a personality, which is really funny. And they also follow like a lot of trends. And lastly, I think they have a lot of touch points with people like me and other customers. They interact with everybody through their comment section. They respond to people's requests. They make people's like ideas into realities with their videos. I think that's something that really stands out because no other airline is doing it that way.
Yeah, I think it's because I flew Ryanair the other day and it was an experience. It was an experience. You're only kind of not sure if you're going to make it somewhere. I'm like, you know what? It's cool. I lived a great life. And I think even me, when I go on Ryanair's TikTok, it actually makes me want to book with them. I'm like, you know what? Actually, these guys are hilarious. It doesn't matter that I'm so uncomfortable in their seats. This TikTok is amazing. For you, would you be more likely to book with Ryanair based off their TikTok campaign than you would have been before?
Yeah, definitely. Because before that, I think I did like a research project on Ryanair and like their customer service, and the media was just filled with like how bad of a service they give and how like not great of a company they are. But TikTok, them being very down to earth and one-on-one with everybody and showing the backgrounds of the company and how their employees behave, it really changed my opinion on them. And now every time I think of a flight, Ryanair is the first thing that comes to my mind.
Amazing. So Ryanair actually completely shifted your understanding of them as a brand based just solely off their TikTok.
Their brand image is like completely different for me now compared to like back then.
And I love that because now for a whole new generation, the way they're going to engage with Ryanair is going to be completely different to how I did. I always did it because I couldn't book with anybody else. I had to book with Ryanair to go to wherever I needed to go to. So I just did it. No offense if anybody works in Ryanair here, so I apologize. So those are really good points. For you guys, over the last 12 months, obviously we've spoken about the ads that you love. What for you does an ad need to possess? What are like the 2, the 1, the 3 key things that you would need to see in an advert or in a campaign that would make you want to be interested in it? So I'm going to start with you first. What are the key elements that would need to be in a campaign or in an ad?
I think most importantly, the ad has to be genuine. The campaign itself has to be genuine. Like I don't want a company telling me that, oh look, we have a product, I want you to buy the product. I don't want that. I want them to believe in their product or them to believe in their service more, and that should resonate through their ad to me and make me want to be part of their campaign, make me want to be part of their brand. Secondly, I think companies need to be more consumer focused and address consumer concerns more than focusing on like product development or like service like improvement. They have to communicate more with consumers. They have to respond to their requests. They have to change according to the consumer. Those are the 2 things that I look for.
Communicate with the consumer. I know a great company, great platform that can help you to do that. It's called Imagine Insights. No jokes, I'm messing. I like what you said earlier about the idea of background information. I actually missed that point a second ago when you were saying actually you liked being able to see behind the scenes of a brand. And I think that's something that brands we get a little bit nervous. Like, oh no, we don't want to show what it's like behind the scenes. But one thing I'm seeing on TikTok, one trend I'm seeing a lot of is the way that brands that are doing really, really well on that are the ones that show the entirety of the brand. They don't just show the front-facing side of things, they show the background side of things, which is really, really cool. Constance, what about you? What are the 1, 2, 3 key elements you want to see in an ad to make it work?
Well, I definitely agree with Sarai. I think honesty is so important for a brand image, especially like even if something's not quite right, like people still diss Ryanair for having really bad seat area or space. They joke about it. Like they'll be like, yeah, we do, but look at our prices, look at our fares, and they take it for what it is and they agree with it, but they're giving you something that no other brand can. And I think diversity is really important. I remember we were in another talk there and they were talking about diversity, and I'm going to talk about the beauty company again because that's what I know most of. And they were saying how 71% of these companies do have diversity, but only 4% have disability diversity included, which is, I think we could all do better than that. So yeah, I'm just going to put that out there.
I love that. It's such a good challenge to us all. And I like the way you break it down as in like it's something that's so personal to you, because the way you always go back to beauty, and even when we were talking outside there, the things you mentioned to me were so poignant and important to you. And I like that you said that brands that can take the piss out of themselves, they're the brands that people like, because it's kind of being lighthearted and being like, actually, you know what, I can take the mick out of myself. I don't take myself too seriously as a brand. And Duolingo do this really, really well as well on TikTok. I absolutely love that, which is cool. All right, coming on to my last question. And also, if you do have questions, there is a roaming mic somewhere. So if you do have questions, please keep them. I want to leave like 3 or 4 minutes for you guys to ask your questions at the end. Have them in mind. So, last question. I'm going to start with you, Constantine. For the adverts that you've seen over the last 12 months, how have they impacted your shopping habits? Firstly, have they impacted your shopping habits? If so, how have the adverts over the last 12 months that you've seen impacted your shopping habits? Have they increased your shopping habits? Have they reduced it? If so, why?
Yeah, well, definitely they have increased my shopping habits with the brands whose ads I like. For example, as Soraya said, Ryanair. I'm from Ireland, so we've got a company called Aer Lingus, and they do not, they have good, seat space, but they don't have the advertising that Soraya was talking about, the funniness, the honesty about it, and I always book Ryanair. I go home I think I go home once a month, and I always book Ryanair. I don't even look at Aer Lingus. They're just kind of dead, I won't lie. I don't see them anywhere on social media or anything, so yeah.
It's so interesting. I have so many conversations with wonderful brands that like, we don't need to be on here. We don't need to do that. We don't need to try and appeal to everybody, because we're this brand. Everybody knows us. And I have a prime example there. Well, if you're not there, I don't know you exist. You're actually dead to me, which is a great example. So don't be terrified, but it's just a good idea. What about you, Soraya?
I think looking at many ads over the past 12 months, I've learned to differentiate between ads that are good and brands that are good versus others that are not. So this comes back to the Ryanair being self-aware and kind of them making fun of themselves for having low seat space and everything. I think when I see things like that, I realize that they're also hearing and listening to my concerns and other customers' concerns, and they're also giving us a solution or something to look forward to, such as them saying, oh, but look at our prices, you can travel here for such cheap prices. So I think I've learned to differentiate between that. I think another thing is that I can really tell when ads are trying to be genuine about if they're supporting a cause or something, and telling the difference between that and greenwashing, for example. Some ads would just take advantage of for example, the recent Earth Day. A lot of the brands came across okay, we have this offer, we'll donate this much to this charity and everything. But I don't see them doing that on other days of the month. I don't see them promoting that on other months and everything, right? So I can really differentiate between which brand works towards a cause truly, and which is just doing it for the sake of it.
Yeah, such a good point. And I know there was, I remember when the tragedy of George Floyd happened, and I've never been asked to do so many public talks about the importance of Black lives as I did around then. And I promise to you, none of those people have reached out to me since and asked me to do anything about how important Black people are now. I think we are still important now. It's just a guess. It's just a wild guess that we're still important now. But obviously, it's not on the brand's agenda. And I think the important thing is what Soraya is saying is, if you're going to make a plan about something, make it long term. Because so many brands I come across, and they're just like, oh, this is important now, so we're going to talk about this. To tell the truth, there's so many causes that you can get behind, and it's tough. I know, I understand that. But choose the causes you're going to get behind as a brand and go, okay, these are the 2 or 3 causes. Honestly, we know there's so many, we're not going to be able to get behind them all, but these are the 2 or 3 we're really going to get behind. Here's our 1-year plan, here's our 3-year plan, here's our 5-year plan, and here's our decade plan. And then also the most beautiful part is, if you don't live up to those things, you said in a year you're going to do something and you don't, just be honest. We didn't, we dropped the ball, and this is what we're going to do, is we're going to recommit to it and do this in the long term, which is really, really cool. Very good answers, by the way, guys. It's almost like I planned this. We've got 3 minutes. Oh, wow, look at this. That hand was ready. Yeah, we've got a mic for you. Thank you so much. What's your name and what's your question?
Hi, my name's Steve. You'll have to forgive me. I've got 2 Gen Zs in my house, so I get the same sort of conversations there, right? First question to you, though, is this. Well, it's not a question, it's a statement. Those brands that have not come back to you, call them out.
Yes,
Secondly,
love that.
it's interesting what you say about Ryanair, because I avoid them like the plague, right? Whereas I go Lingus, because I want the... But I'm not Gen Z, and I find it really, really interesting that your perception of what's going on with the Gen Z stuff and how they're advertising you is wholly different to how they advertise to me, right? However, let me get to the question. You've talked about advertising which has been influenced you, now without naming any brands, okay, because I don't think that would be fair, has there been any type of advertising which has negatively affected you in terms of, right, I'm going to avoid that now?
So don't name the brand.
Don't need to name brands, but maybe name the product and that sort of thing.
Do you want to go ahead? Or?
Yeah, I can go. I think the example that I gave previously, the whole like Earth Day thing, I saw like a lot of ads on TikTok saying we're gonna donate to like this campaign. I think one specific brand was like, we're gonna like everything you buy from us, we'll save like a baby sea turtle and everything. But I've never seen them do that before Earth Day. So I'm just like, you don't really mean it, do you? You're just doing it for the sake of like coming into that hashtag or coming into TikTok's algorithm to appear on my page. So that's one thing that I didn't really like.
Yeah, I would have to say, again, beauty related, I just think a lot of brands that pretend that one product is going to solve your entire problem. So something like they'll put somebody that's kind of in their mid-age, and then they'll change it to someone that's 20, like 18, just like me. And I just think it's completely unrealistic, and it sends out a really toxic kind of image towards people that are interested in beauty. So it kind of just says like you have to look a certain way, which is not true. I think there should be a lot of different shapes, different sizes, different colors, different looks, different vibes on people in advertising. Yeah.
Love that. Phenomenal answer.
Thank you.
Good question, Steve.
I've got it. It's Hannah here.
Hi, Hannah.
I think it's really interesting you've pulled out Ryanair because you probably remember around International Women's Day with the Deeds Not Words bot, they were called out as one of the worst, I think the worst for the gender pay gap. So I'm just wondering how that makes you feel, because we always talk about how the ethics of a brand are so important, and yeah, you can be lighthearted, but if your gender gap is 70% different, how does that make you guys feel?
You can go first.
Well, that really upsets me as a woman, and I wasn't aware of that, I'll be honest.
Lingus, here we come.
Yeah, but yeah, I definitely think that although they do a really good job on advertising, they're very skilled in that, it is quite a shame that that's what their ethics are, and I'll definitely look into that more, and I'll educate myself more on different flights and different companies.
So would that actually influence you? Sorry, I know we've only got 12 seconds, that's all right, but would that actually influence you in buying somewhere else?
Definitely.
Interesting. Sorry, 7 seconds, bro.
I think I agree with her point. Like I was like, I knew back like 4 years ago or something when I did my research on them, they did have this issue, and they had a lot of like them not like giving enough like luggage space and other ethical issues like that. I thought they recovered from it, but they didn't. But again, I need to do my research on it, and I think I would have to do research on like all other airlines as well, because they may have other internal issues that I'm not aware of. So,
and I think that's the key. Oh, sorry, great question, Hannah. I think that's the key point. We're going to be finishing up, but I think one thing I love about this generation, one thing I love with our community, anytime they complete a brief from us, for us on our platform, you can see the research that they put into it. It's not just, hey, these are my thoughts because I've got 12 seconds to do this. They actually take their time to actually go through and really study it before they provide their response, which is great. And I love that they really do their research because they know that they've got everything at their fingertips. Unlike us old people like me, I just don't know I've got all that stuff. But thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for taking the time out. Feel free to follow us on LinkedIn and all that kind of stuff. Appreciate you. Good job, guys.